Hi, I'm Josh Hooks. I'm a solution architect at Software AG, and I'm going to go through a quick example of how we can take incoming device data coming into Cumulocity IoT and transform it into real-time utilization metrics for each of your devices. So in this case, I'm looking at some healthcare laboratory devices like this liquid handling robot, where we have incoming data that's letting us know this device is going through preparation, loading, liquid transfer, and disposal. So these are events coming into Cumulocity in real time that we're going to build some really cool analytics on top of to show how often this device is being utilized. And to do that, we'll jump over into our analytics builder application with the current models that I have and create a brand new model from scratch. So in this case, we'll call it device utilization, and then start pulling in our input data. So on the left side here, we can see our menu of different options we have for analytics, and in the middle is our canvas, and on the right side is different useful documentation that you'll see as I go through and start creating the analytics models. And to start with, we're going to pull in data from this liquid handling robot so I can see it on my left side, and I'm able to pull it onto the canvas, and then select the event input dialog that lets me type in the preparation event that I know is going to be coming in. So I use preparation here and then copy and paste this events block to also do the disposal, since I know those are the first and last things that the liquid handling robot will do. But what I really want to know is the time it takes to get from one to the next. And what's really useful for that is a utility called duration. So if I pull in duration into the canvas, I can start and trigger this by an event, the preparation event coming in, and then end it and trigger a measurement when the disposal event happens. And then I also want to reset this because I don't want it to keep the number rising. I want to know each time that the disposal event happens, how long did it take to get from preparation to disposal? And so then I can save this as a measurement so then I can use it for later calculations by using an output of the same device. So if I go to the liquid handling robot, I'm going to store a measurement output called, let's call this processing duration. And the unit will be in seconds. And so I'll drag the output of my duration block to the input value of that measurement. So now I have the duration as this device goes through its normal cycling process. But it's kind of nice to know that. It would also be nice to know the count of how often that happens. So to do that, we can look at an aggregation called counter, pull that into the workflow, into the canvas, drag in the duration also to the input value of this counter, and now the output will be the count of how many times this happens. So then again, I want to store that as a measurement so I can use it for later calculations. So I'll copy and paste this measurement block, put it next to the counter, and then use the output of the counter to drive the input value of the measurement. And instead of calling it duration, we'll just call it count. So we still have processing duration. Now we have processing count. Get rid of the unit here. So know the duration's coming in, know how many times it's happening. What's really important to me though is I want to know how often this happens on a daily basis or how long it's being used on a daily basis. So for that, I can do a couple things. So to start with, let's throw in a cron timer because having the count tick up constantly day after day doesn't really help if I want to know the daily value. This cron timer will trigger something to happen at any time that it's set for. In this case, I'm going to say at the beginning of the day, every day. I'm going to actually reset this counter. So this counter will peak at the end of the day to let me know how often this has happened. And then I'm also going to use a aggregation called discrete statistics. In this case, there's a ton of stuff you can do with this for counting, summing, averages, but I really just want to use the sum value here. So I'm going to drag the duration into the input value of this block and use the sum to then create another measurement. So in this case, I will copy and paste the measurement that I have for the processing so far, hook up the output sum value to the input value of the processing measurement, and then instead of calling it processing count, we'll call it daily duration. And this will be in seconds as well. And I also don't want this to just keep summing up as it goes, like it with the counter. So it does have a reset block that I'll hook to the cron timer as well. So at the beginning of the day, it'll reset this sum value and it'll continue building throughout the day. So now I know how long things are happening at any given time. I see how often they're happening, and I have a daily duration value that I can work with as well. And this will reset every day and just continue running on a daily basis. So we're one step away from utilization. And luckily, since we have this daily count, this sum coming through, we can just use that with the amount of time we're expecting this device to run to calculate a utilization percentage. And to do that, we'll use a calculation called expression, probably one of my favorite blocks to use because you can create complex calculations and formulas within here very easily. So I can take the sum value, drag it over to the input of the expression block, and write out a formula directly in here. So in this case, I'm gonna say that this device is active 12 hours a day. So I will divide my duration sum by the amount of seconds in 12 hours, which is about 43,000, and use that to create my utilization measurement. So again, we're just creating another processing measurement. So we'll copy and paste this value, put it into this block, and then create this series name as utilization. So now I have processing utilization as well in the unit of percentage. So that's just a very quick example. If I zoom out and kind of see the whole workflow here of something we can just build out in about 5 minutes that gives us duration of events happening in Cumulocity, counting how often they happen, and giving you a total aggregated daily view, both in terms of time taken and percentage that it is being utilized. So hope you enjoyed the demo.